to StarCraft 2's WCS Europe Premier League Season 2, round of 16. We've already had half of the round of 16, and it's been a right royal affair, frankly. We've had kings dethroned, we've had the return of a king, and we've had one retire as well. And as you can see from your graphic right now, half of our groups are done, with 4 players already going through. Anyone want to guess at the thing that's linking them all together? Yeah, they're all Protosses, that's right. Hasselhobbs, Grubby, Welmu and Duck all advancing. Today's Group C promises to be another royal affair as the King in the North goes for redemption from last season's round of 16 where he failed. Can he go one better this season? We're about to find out with our Group C games. Before we get there though, I'm with the product manager for WCS here at ESL, Mr. Kennigan. How you doing?
Doing well. I'm wearing pants today, so
that's good. That's always
better.
A plus. Yeah. We like pants. Talk to me about Group C. Actually, before we get to Group C, talk about the first 2 days, because they were largely unpredictable.
Sure. So after that first day with the Grubby moment, I didn't think we were going to live up to that for the rest of the week, and then Tuesday happened.
Yeah, Tuesday did happen.
It's Wednesday, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't even imagine we can hope for anything more than we've already had, but something tells me this might be another special night.
Well, you're forgetting the NaNiwa factor, so who knows what will happen tonight.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's take a look at the 4 players in the group, in Group C. NaNiwa is one of them, the King in the North, of course. Currently ranked 24 in WCS points, which is 8 short of where he needs to be. Top 16 go to BlizzCon for the World Finals at the end of the year. He's up against MMA from Korea, the former Triple Crown holder, who hasn't really shown us an awful lot so far in Heart of the Swarm. Last year's round of 8 Happy, last of the Great 8, and Tefel, the Challenger League challenger. I guess we could probably give him the name of the Polish underdog today.
Yeah, if this was a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would have told you MMA is going to come in here and crush everybody, but it's 2013 and it's Heart of the Swarm, so I think honestly the favorites for the group are probably NaNiwa and Happy.
Okay, well, we'll see. If Happy doesn't make it out, that means we have lost all 8 of last season's round of 8 players. It's almost unthinkable.
That's StarCraft, and that's the European scene, is that there's a lot of good players and there's some degree of variance always, and makes it a little more exciting.
Yeah, it certainly does. Let's show you the bracket and how the 4 players are going to match up against each other this evening in Group C. NaNiwa takes on Tefel in our opening game that's coming up very shortly. That will be followed by MMA versus Happy in the all-Terran battle in the other half of the bracket. The 2 will play each other, the 2 winners will play each other for the first place in the round of 8. The other 2 will get a second chance at winning their second matches. Basically, if you haven't been familiar with dual tournament formats before, it's win 2 and you are through. Thank you very much, Kennigan. Go and do whatever you need to go and do. I know you're a busy boy these days.
Yeah, I have stuff to do.
Carmack's keeping you run off your feet.
Yeah. Stuff to do.
Thanks very much to Kennigan, and it's time then to take a look at our first game of the evening. As we've already said, it is the King in the North versus the underdog. It's Tefel versus NaNiwa. Let's show you some information on both of these 2. There we go, as you can see, from round of 32. Wins against Lucifron and user for NaNiwa. Clean result from round of 32. Fantastic run through to the round of 16. Tefel with a little bit of a problem in the middle of his matches with a certain former European champion in the form of MVP, finally coming through with a 2-1 win against Delphi. His current WCS global rank is 66, but don't let that fool you, because this is going to be a very interesting matchup indeed. These 2 met already in Challenger last season, and it was the pole that came out on top. Is Lightning about to strike twice? We're about to find out. With match number 1 in Group C, it's time to go over to the Clarkson and May of commentary. It is Apollo and Kalaris.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome to the caster's desk here as we gear things up for day number 3. We've already had 2 insane days. Why not 3rd?
Yeah, I'm having so much fun here once again in the ESL studios doing the WCS Europe Premier League. I'm sure you're having fun as well. I know you're having fun, Kalaris. And let's hope that day 3 can live up to what we saw in Group A in day 1 and Group B in day 2, because it was an emotional set of days, whether it be Grubby going through in an emotional way or Stefano leaving the scene yesterday. What can be different today?
Well, we could certainly see some fireworks. We certainly could between these 4 players, as we do have NaNiwa and Tefel to begin things here, as we'll have our map vetoes begin in just a second. There's history between these two, not gonna lie. Challenger League did occur, and NaNiwa certainly wasn't happy with the results there. But Tefel, he's proving himself as of late. He's at his peak performance right now in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, Tefel is definitely, out of all 4 players, just in the overall perspective, the underdog of the group. That's not, you know, he's definitely coming into this with a little bit of less pressure, I'd like to say. So I think with the less pressure, he could do anything here. And remember that Tefel is one of 2 Zerg players left in the tournament. Tefel today and Vortex tomorrow. Are we going to have a Zerg in the round of 8? Is it going to be this man?
Well, we'll have to see here. He's certainly got a tall mountain to climb here. I would argue that Vortex has a bit of an easier time in terms of only having to prepare for 1 matchup across the entire group that he has to stage against. Tefel, meanwhile, he has to go up against Protoss, a Terran, and another Terran. And the 2 of those Terrans are monsters in TVZ.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good set of players for these next 2 days for sure. But you know, if we focus on these 2 on the screen right now, NaNiwa has been spending the last month and a half to 2 months in Korea practicing there. I've said this a while ago, and I'll say it again now, is the highest performing non-Korean in StarCraft 2 Heart of the Storm so far, with his 2nd place finish at DreamHack, his 3rd and 4th MLG finish as well. Not too far away from each other, which is one of the most impressive things, to be able to string a bunch of results and put them in a month or something like that. But in the round of 16, last season in the Premier League, he fell short. There was external things that got to him. It, you know, kind of destroyed his mentality and his performance a little bit. So let's hope that he is a stronger person today and can show everybody the results that he wants to show, and of course his team, the Alliance, wants him to show. Because NaNiwa is a player that is absolutely a finalist, or should be a finalist for this Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. He's proved that he is the absolute highest of contenders here in the foreign scene right now. And all the maps are almost gone here. NaNiwa is just picking his first map to conclude this map stage. But interestingly enough, you know, coming into this, it would be, if NaNiwa does advance, then that guarantees us at least 6 Protoss in that top 8 spot. So for some people, maybe not as exciting, but for others, that's kind of strange. It's a complete role reversal from what we saw in Season 1.
That's right, lots of Protoss players. Maybe NaNiwa can be another one of those to move through. We do have Belshir, Vestige, Neoplanet S, and Newkirk. The 3 maps that we'll be playing. NaNiwa getting rid of Derelict Watcher and Whirlwind, whereas his opponent did get rid of the Red City and Star Station there. And Tefel giving us a wave as he prepares to battle here against NaNiwa. And as you said before, they played in Challenger League. In the last game of the bracket stage within Challenger League, Tefel took a 2-0 over NaNiwa.
Yes.
Of course, we can't forget that what happened within those games is NaNiwa did call Tefel a bad player and said that he didn't deserve to win, but now they play for real. This is for realsies now.
It is.
Live in front of all the people at home, live in front of the people in the audiences today. The better player should advance through.
Newkirk Precinct, Neoplanet S, and Belshir Vestige will be the map order here. And just from Tefel's point of things, he's in Heart of the Swarm. He actually has a ridiculously high win percentage in this matchup, 75%, and that's not across a small sample of games. That's across around 70 series, which is absolutely insane here.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's by far his strongest matchup. And NaNiwa's going to have a hard time.
Well, here is NaNiwa, and we'll see if he does have a hard time or not against Tefel. He's definitely, as mentioned, definitely should be a finalist for this tournament, with Stefano out and MVP out on day 1 and day 2. Who's left to stop NaNiwa? And will he be able to show that excellence and move through here today? As he is going up against the Team Dignitas player. Been with them for a couple of months now. And as that first line says, an unlikely contender to even be here today.
Yeah, and you know, he's arguably the biggest underdog in the round of 16. I'm going to say, if you look at his earnings as well, it's so much lower than every other player's. He's actually earned only about 3,800 or something like that in his entire prize winnings. So very, very kind of in the shadows. Once again, we had Mr. Wellknew in the shadows yesterday, but now we have Tefel here. But again, he could certainly upset a player that it's NaNiwa's time to shine.
Well, if Tefel's able to move through like players that maybe shouldn't have gone through this, you know, just the Premier League in itself this season has very much been a story of underdogs and a story of players that nobody thought would go through. You know, for example, 7 out of the 8 players, because Happy hasn't played yet today, are already knocked out from the last season of the Premier League. It's just a bunch of new faces already in the round of 8. Hazubs and Grubby, both of them weren't even close last season.
No, not at all.
Wellmute and Duck, a brand new face there in himself. So these 4 players weren't even close to top 8 last season.
Wellmute and Duck weren't even Premier League last season.
Yeah, so like that's the big contrast and what we're seeing unravel here in the Premier League for Season 2. But you know, what is gonna happen within this group? NaNiwa, MMA, Happy, and Tefel. It's a pretty dynamic group, I'd like to say. But I do feel that this is NaNiwa's game for sure.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, NaNiwa could go all the ways if he's able to just compose himself and move straight on from any hindrances that he would find. But now going into this first series, Newkirk Precinct will be our map as we have NaNiwa and Tefel facing off against one another here for the first series. There's been bad blood between them, and we'll see now who is going to prove the other one wrong as we jump in for game number 1, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our red Protoss, representing the Alliance in Sweden. Give it up for NaNiwa. And down to the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Zerg, representing Poland and Team Dignitas. Give it up for Tefel.
All right, I just want to say one thing about NaNiwa, and then I want to focus on Tefel. NaNiwa, and this is all I'm going to say, needs to stay focused.
Oh, yeah.
That is all that he needs to do today, because if he stays focused, he will win this group.
Yeah.
If he lets things get to him, he's already been, putting his feelings out there on Twitter. We've all seen it. For anyone that follows him on Twitter, he's already been showing his emotion. But if he just puts that aside and focuses on what is important, which is moving through, he will go through this group. I really believe that. On the other hand, though, not too many people know Tefel. Yep. They don't really know him. He's always been around. He's been a contender in the scene throughout all the years. You know, he's not just a player that's come and shot into the scene recently. With his results, sure, you could actually argue that he is putting the results to really get his name out there. But he's always been around. He's always been this kind of player that's very good at defending against all-ins. That's something that stays true today, and probably is one of the reasons why his win percentage is so high at the moment against Protoss players. But he's a very hard worker. He plays in a lot of online tournaments.
Yeah.
He's qualified here and there for an MLG arena or whatnot, but he's never really got to the top end of a tournament. I think the highest finish he's ever had was like a round of 16.
Yeah.
And he's there today again. One step further and he's at his best.
He was previously on Blast, if anybody remembers that team, as it has now disbanded. And his big break really kind of did come with joining Dignitas and having that work regimen in place through actually gaining position on that team. It's a very, very nice thing for Tefel. But again, can he stand up to NaNiwa? Both of these players in this respective matchup right now are very, very good. It used to be NaNiwa's Achilles heel, some would say, this matchup in Wings of Liberty, but now in Heart of the Swarm, he's gained a lot of pace with it, which we've seen time and time again at DreamHacks and things like that.
Yeah, the most excited thing about NaNiwa here today is I want to see what he's been doing in Korea, and I want to see it show through his games. He's been living there for a couple of months now in the EG house. Let's see what that's taught him, living with the likes of Jadong and Revival and all those nerds down there. I think he should be showing us something pretty good.
Certainly should be. So we'll see what he wants to bring out against Tefel here. Now, his biggest gripe previously with playing Tefel in Challenger League was, I think, to quote, "Why am I playing greedy? Why am I playing so greedy against the worst player in the world?" Or something to that effect. So maybe he'll play a little bit more cautiously here against his opponent. And Tefel's a Zerg player going up against Protoss that he has a super, super strong mid game. But sometimes if he doesn't kill his opponent in that mid game, he gets stuck in it for a long, long time. And Protoss, well, we all know what happens when they get to the late game potentials.
Yeah, Tefel's always, he's always a fast layer type of player, likes to go Hydralisk, likes to switch up to Mutalisk quite a bit too, Swarm Host if need be. So we'll see how his play kind of shows itself today. I mean, you can see the builds starting to show themselves with speed coming in here for Tefel. NaNiwa just gateway expand into the fast Stargate as soon as the Cyber Core is done. Or not, a little bit after Cybernetics Core is done, so that he can start to harass potentially with a couple of Phoenixes here.
Yep, this has been the kind of normal rhetoric of Protoss on this map, in fact, just to open that Stargate in the wall nowadays, with the extra 2 gateways going down there as well for NaNiwa. So again, he has options. He could quite easily go up to those 4 Phoenix very quickly. He could go to the 2 Phoenix and then the Robo facility, which is the more common thing we've been seeing here in the past 2 days. And that's certainly available to him.
All right, so Tefel is mining gas at the moment, but he hasn't taken a third base, which is what NaNiwa's really eager to find. I would be even a little bit scared here for NaNiwa if that third base or that third drone wasn't going down to build that third, but he does now know, and he is going to be able to spot it, which means that NaNiwa should be not aggressive with any ground units whatsoever. He knows that with a third base coming down, which he's just now spotted, is that Zergling speed is absolutely on its way. That's the reason for the third base being delayed here, so he cannot be active on the map with any, ground units.
Yeah, and he's going to just take to the air with these Phoenix now and utilize those as a little bit more of a tool. And interestingly enough, we already have that pylon going down near that third base here, but the Roach Warren started along with the layer, so if he spots it, should be fine.
I think that the 10 Zerglings that are poked out should be looking around this location, and NaNiwa is being aggressive, but with Zergling speed out already, where are these units? From Tefel, it's so surprising for him not to be scouting around because he's had no units outside the natural of NaNiwa. So NaNiwa very simply just walked across the map.
Yeah,
and here we go. If he gets a cancel on this third base, NaNiwa just already opens up this game with a pretty good start.
And that's quite a lot of zealots here.
Supply
with more
blocks.
warping in. And, the Roach work not being done right now. Roaches, even if they started production, they're so far away from actually reinforcing this location here. NaNiwa is on lockdown.
Tefel's just making a couple of mistakes here. Big supply block. He couldn't build units for a very long time, and this is just going to get cancelled. So NaNiwa does start this game with a decent opening, being able to cancel that, even though his opponent dedicated resources very early to get Zergling speed. Usually Zerg players like to actually skip it and go to the layer first, but he got a tool that is meant to, not allow this to happen. But it didn't do anything.
No, it certainly didn't here. And once again, these Zealots now moving on once again to actually try and do some damage here at the natural. Zerglings do run in, but they're really not in the most opportune of positions here to actually do the damage to those Zealots. These Zealots actually just might do crippling damage to where they just end the game. They're not dying. The Roaches are eventually coming down to clean this up. But a lot has been lost.
Not a very strong start here for Tefel. He's losing a lot, as you say. He's lost Queens. He's lost his third. NaNiwa's quite happy in the position he's in. He's got a Void Rail, I guess, supposed to take a third base shortly. A second Stargate. Oh gosh, look at this. 3 Stargates coming down.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot of production here. If he just goes into, 3 Stargate Void Rays or even Phoenix that we've seen in the past, certainly a lot of cool follow-ups here for NaNiwa.
The one thing is, though, that NaNiwa is going to have a lot of units with this third base coming down, but Tefel really doesn't. Because his third base is so late, he isn't going to have that major income to be able to support any large amount of Hydra production here, especially if he wants to continue upgrades. So I really do favor the position NaNiwa's in.
Yep, and those Phoenix here just poking away as well. As even the probe just comes down here. But there's still the pylon there to actually warp it if he wants to. He sees the production of the third base once again. But NaNiwa must feel so comfortable right now getting his third Nexus down. And, well, he hasn't utilized the other Stargates yet, but he certainly has the production capabilities to there if he wants them.
There we go. How's the Phoenix, the Void Rays being made?
All right, the Void Rays on the way. Liking it. That being said, Tefel did indeed get himself the Hydralisk Dem, so he could try and shut this down with a lot of Hydralisk production, but I don't know whether or not that's actually going to work out, because there's so much here for NaNiwa in terms of opportunities to establish a third base worth of income, and be very, very happy about that.
Gosh, that pylon's still there, and he hasn't seen it whatsoever. And that's a little bit unfortunate there for him. Of course, continued units can be warped in, but with more and more Void Rays being made, the end problem here is that Tefel just won't have that much anti-air. At this point, he only has a single Hydra and 3 Queens. He doesn't know what his opponent's doing. He hasn't seen the additional, Stargates. He hasn't seen the Void Rays being made. And I'm not sure if Tefel's nervous or not here. It seems that might be the case. He's got no idea about his opponent's buildings. He's got no idea about his opponent's composition. And what happens now if NaNiwa gets up to I don't know, maybe roughly 9, 10 if he's building 3 at a time, 9, 12, whatever, Void Rays, and attacks? What happens?
I think he just ends up getting crushed. I mean, the Hive's now on the way.
But why? What is the Hive for?
Exactly.
Like, there's no reaction. It's just a straight line of decisions here without any indication of what he's looking to do.
I was thinking that maybe if he sees extra Stargates and stuff, would not just going for investors and trying to chain some fungal growth be kind of a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Sure, I mean, a couple of Fungals, a couple of Infestitarians, sure, but at this point, NaNiwa's got such a high Void Ray count, is he'll pick off these units very easily. Look at this.
Oh, they all get pinned in. Sad times for these roaches. Can't even deal with the Void Ray firepower from the air, and not even, like, maybe one Zealot died in all of that, but a great trade here right now for NaNiwa. Army supplies, technically in favor of Tefel, but they should be far more in favor of Tefel right now, who is cranking out a lot of roaches, but I don't think he's going to break this.
Remember, NaNiwa's only just now decided to get the Forge, so it is quite late in this game, so his units are not upgraded, but he does have a lot of Void Ray. He's got to be careful, as there's a lot of Hydras too, though.
That is, yeah. Wants to be careful, but he does have that space control in the form of the Time Warp, as well as those Force Fields. Will actually push into the natural here, and seals a lot of these units out, or tries to. Still has a lot of energy, can actually fully seal those out, and will do. He could recall, I think. Does he have the energy for the recall?
I don't think so. He's used a lot of Time Warps here.
Yeah, he's 10 seconds away from it, so technically could get out eventually, but he's actually losing more Void Rays than I was expecting.
I actually don't know what NaNiwa's doing here.
Yeah.
I'm actually don't know what that movement was. Like, what is he looking to do there? There was no third base. It's a little bit weird. That was actually kind of a weird move. He did lose a lot there, considering that he was quite in a decent position, and now there's quite a few Hydras out. This third base has been untouched. NaNiwa maybe in trouble because of this movement. He lost so much there.
Yeah, he certainly could be. I mean, it's 100 army supply for Tefel right now against 52. If these Hydralisks just start attacking this third base...
With no photon overcharge.
Especially if they're losing some Void Rays as well. He needs every single unit he can possibly get here.
I don't know what's kind of happened in this game. Like, from the get-go, this has not been a game that makes a lot of sense for me.
It certainly isn't making sense right now. These Roaches and Hydralisks are doing the damage that Tefel wants. And behind this, the fact that NaNiwa is pretty heavily supply blocked with the pylons now on the way, I don't think his army could even compete against this.
I actually believe that he may be dead.
Yeah. An interesting game one here. Tefel is actually breaking up this ramp. Time Warp goes down. But still, even if Tefel loses a lot of these units, he still has those 3 bases to fall back on. And the Hydralisks, any trade that they go for against these Void Rays is going to go in Tefel's favor.
All right, I've got to put it out there. If NaNiwa loses this game, which it looks it may happen, I'm really scared about the entire of his day.
Yeah, same here. I don't know how this is going to really pan out for him if this goes down.
Like, imagine NaNiwa's feelings right now after killing that third and then into this game, how it shaped up.
Even Tefel can't believe it.
Tefel's like, did I just win this game?
Yeah, exactly.
What did NaNiwa do there? He almost gifted that game, I would say.
I would say so as well. Tefel here winning an unexpected game number 1. After a really poor start for him. It was poor. It was not good. NaNiwa played it well. Here's the winning moment.
Well, just look at... I'm interested in NaNiwa. We saw Tefel's reactions, actually.
Contemplative.
Yeah, you guys take what you want from those images there, but Tefel, I think he feels... overjoyed with that win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one game up against arguably the favorite of the group when... Again, just looking at the reactions of Tefel, he didn't believe that he was going to actually take that game. But he did. And now he's only 1 game away from advancing onto the winner's game here in Group C, which could be either against Happy or MMA, which, again, it could be quite tough, but still, there's a little bit of way to go here. NaNiwa's not going to give up.
Yeah, I mean, he mustn't give up here. Yeah. He cannot just give in to whatever is happening here, especially because he's coming into this game. We talked about the little rivalry they had between them, NaNiwa calling him not so good of a player, and I'm pretty sure that NaNiwa came into this being like, oh god, I got put into his group, and oh god, I've got to play him again here. And let's see if NaNiwa can just pull things around. That was not a good game 1 from both players, in all honesty. I mean, I think Tefel made a lot of mistakes early on, supply blocked a lot, lost his third early on, and then NaNiwa just kind of decided to go for a lot of Stargates, no kind of ground upgrades, no splash damage, and threw all these units away in a certain extent, unfortunately, with a weird movement.
And now it's Neoplanet S, Sean. It's an interesting map here for Protoss to go up against Zerg as we now load up into game number 2. As Tefel throws out the good luck, have fun to see if he can actually advance on. If he takes this 2-0, I will be amazed at the results. And we shall now jump in and spawn go to the bottom left-hand corner as our red Protoss representing the Alliance and Sweden. Give it up for NaNiwa. And spawning up to the top right as our blue Zerg representing Dignitas and Poland. Give it up for Tefel.
All right, let's just. I think that the best way for everybody, us, viewers, NaNiwa, and Tefel as well, just to be like, all right, clean slate, new game.
Yeah,
New game. Let's just do the same again. And sometimes mistakes happen. Sometimes things don't go the way as planned. So let's just forget about it and focus on this next map, Neoplanet S, a smaller map, one of the smallest maps alongside Belshir Vestige in the map pool that we have here today. So that's something that both players will need to think about, whether it's Tefel being aggressive towards a third base of NaNiwa, or whether it's NaNiwa being aggressive himself. But NaNiwa is definitely a player, and that should not be losing in the round of 16.
You're definitely right. Yeah. Again, this is with the previous results of day number 1 and 2. If this is NaNiwa's best opportunity right now to take the win here entirely in the whole grand scheme of WCS Europe. There is no better opportunity for him than right now. And if he does not take this, then he's going to have a bit of a rough road.
Well, we do have, it's one important to hatchery coming down here by Tefel, just a regular opening. No gas taken yet, but on a small map like this, and NaNiwa's favoritism towards getting a gateway opening here, a gas and extractor is the first thing I think that should be on Tefel's mind here, especially considering the circumstances, of game 1. Just with losing that third hatchery, that is a thing that shouldn't happen again at all.
Yeah.
Period.
And it's funny, actually, because I haven't seen this Cybernetics core gateway positioning for a long time in this matchup. Normally, if you see a gateway opening, the gateway is like near the mineral line, near the nexus, whatever. But NaNiwa going back to very, very old positioning.
It's as simple as it looks.
Yeah.
It's to defend against any kind of lings early on, whether it be lings without speed or whether it's run bys later on. It's a pylon, it's a probe, it's a zealot, it's whatever to wall off. And it doesn't cost too much to do so. Rather than building the gateways down on the low ground straight away or putting them in the main base, it is really just a simple thing. But NaNiwa, with 2 probes in each gas at the moment, is looking to grab that nexus down just a little bit faster, not having as much gas income as he could have, because why does he need a lot of gas at this point? He's got the 100 down for the mothership core. He should be wanting to get warp gate research soon, I suppose, which is something which hasn't been researched yet. So that's actually a little worrisome, unless he's trying to get a faster Stargate. Yeah, okay, so it is a faster Stargate here.
Yeah.
Just kind of skipping up on the warp gate research and Stargate, and then that should follow.
And, I mean, I kind of like it, from NaNiwa. There's not really a whole lot of room for him to put on too much aggression. He did found the opportunity to do aggression in game number 1 with the gateway, but he still has not started it.
Sentry's come down first. He's really delaying this warp gate research. It's just showing us that if he doesn't get it at all, then it's a mistake. But if it comes up next, which it is, he's just kind of saying, all right, I'm going to delay it. I'm not going to go for a gateway timing or anything along these lines. So I don't think that the third base threat is even going to be there in this game.
Yeah.
But with the faster Stargate here, he's definitely going to try and do something a bit more dominant in the air than he did in the last game, and in many different games that we've seen from NaNiwa earlier on.
And chrono boosting those Phoenix as quickly as possible, knowing that Overlord will be at the back, will hunt that down, whilst the Sentry positions itself well enough to deny any little Zerglings actually getting in, and even the Pylon might end up seeing it. Just barely. Yeah, oh well. So it was warping in anyway, so it would have seen it. But the thing is, we have a few Zerglings on the way. The third's going down as well for Tefel, so he can crank up his production. And just adding on a little bit more gas to eventually transition on. He left in gas, though.
Yeah, I mean, Tefel should be just looking to go up towards a layer pretty fast here. I mean, it's something that Zerg players do even before getting the Zergling speed, because you want to try to get the Hydralisk Den down as fast as possible. It's such a, the Hydralisk Den is just so good for you. Being able to get those Hydras very good defensively, very good aggressively. And Zerglings are going up towards the third base too. They're actually looking if there is a pylon or probe or anything up there.
Yeah.
Because he obviously doesn't want to lose his third hatchery again.
And it's a good point that you bring up with the Hydralisk Den, because Tefel was actually one of the players in the European scene that for the longest time, even in Wings of Liberty, really favored Hydralisks. Just straight from Lings to Hydralisk, skipped Roaches a lot of the time. Of course, in game number 1, we saw Tefel incorporating those a little earlier on than we have previously seen him, but that's just kind of the meta right now, and Tefel's actually adapted to the meta quite nicely, I would say.
I do like NaNiwa's build. Phoenix is taking map control, taking the overlords out around his third base, and he just kind of being a bit of a nuisance. He's even going to get a queen here, which is absolutely fantastic here for him. But more importantly, he's got a third base down, which Tefel has no idea about. And this can work out very well for NaNiwa if he has the time to make sure it's set up defensively with cannons, with units, and gets his additional gateways down.
And might even get a few overlords here as well. Look at the units lost. That's a very, very nice pickup there for NaNiwa. Resources lost as well, 681. Even going up once again here, killing off a few drones. This is very good harassment here by NaNiwa, following up with Void Ray production as well. And personally in this matchup, can never have too many Void Rays, do like him.
Yeah, I think NaNiwa's playing this game much cleaner than the other games. And when I say cleaner, there are no mistakes from him. His build is very strong. Yes, it is greedy, but Tefel has no idea what's going on. So he doesn't know about this third base is down. He doesn't know if there's going to be just a regular base being put down around this time. But little does he know, the Nexus is actually finished up already. But behind this, we do have double Stargates coming in. This double Stargate play coming in could be a style of Myung-sik, which is heavy Phoenix, but with Void Ray production beginning and continuing on, NaNiwa should be using the two extra Stargates for Void Rays. But one thing he needs to focus on is adding on that Forge, adding on the Twilight Council, and looking to get splash damage eventually to really complement the Void Rays, because obviously a lot of Hydras are good against just even a decent amount of Void Rays.
I'm trying to nip away at some of these Hydralisks as well with the Phoenix. Surprisingly, they don't do too badly, and those Hydras will actually mosey on away for now, even adding on a few gases. But again, NaNiwa hasn't lost a single unit just yet. So he's got a good cost efficiency out of those Phoenix still, and with the Void Rays rocketing up in terms of numbers, it's going to be hard for Tefel to actually spot those two extra Stargates. They're in a well-protected area.
Yeah, look at NaNiwa mining gas on the third, but not actually really focused on minerals. This shows us that he does want to get down tech structures too, because Void Rays are quite expensive when it comes to minerals, but he's going to start to pile quite a bit of gas, which will allow him to upgrade the like a +1 attack or something, and then also start to look towards that Templar tech eventually here once he feels comfortable with the income that he has. But so far, these Phoenixes doing absolutely amazing. They've done so much damage here for nothing. He's lost 0 resources in this game.
Very, very impressive. And that Void Ray count continues to climb here. He already has 5 out on the field with 2 extra coming out as well. He just wants to be careful, making sure that his composition gathers full speed and making sure that the Hydralisks don't randomly catch them off guard for whatever reason, because game number 1, well, it was a bit NaNiwa's fault more than anything, but it happened and it wasn't pretty.
A lot of units are being made now by Tefel. He's increasing his supply count. With a couple more overlords, he'll be racing up towards the higher end of his supply. And once he's up there, he's going to have a very, very high Hydralisk count, without any splash damage being added into NaNiwa's composition to his build, which is a little bit surprising. I thought that may have come down by now. But he's focusing so heavily on air that he needs to make sure that the force fields underneath the Void Ray split the Hydralisks up well. Because if they do not, and the Hydralisks get a good area, a good surface area to destroy these Void Rays, we may have a repeat of game 1.
That's a lot of Hydralisks now moving across, and we said before that Tefel, he likes his Hydralisks. If he can get away with making few roaches, he will. He likes the DPS and the firepower that Hydralisks provide him, and he has for a long time. NaNiwa knows the positioning of his opponent. There's augmented muscles going to be happening here, muscular augments even, the other way around, for these Hydralisks to move up and forwards again here. And again, he has to be careful.
All right, there's a lot of sentries, there's a lot of zealots in there too. I like NaNiwa's composition. I think he's actually confident to do this with a couple of time warps. Go for it here. Double time warps, one and then the one behind it.
Oh, Guardian Shield goes up. Fantastic force fields actually seal off a lot of those Hydralisks from doing anything at the back. Oh, they get absolutely melted in the front. And NaNiwa with a great engagement here. He's going to push Tefel back.
He is going to push Tefel back here, and Tefel's going to lose a couple of units at the back here if he's not careful. The Void Rays will charge a couple down. Nice attack there by NaNiwa. Still a little bit behind the supply, as a lot of new Hydras have been built here. But still, cost efficiency, very heavy for flavored for NaNiwa here.
Yeah, the resources lost currently 4,700 to 1,500. A big deficit there for Tefel, and he still doesn't have a 4th base up and running. So, you know, all these engagements that he's going for, he's sitting on the same amount of bases as his opponent, and
nice
that is not a good position to be.
Really nice position for Tefel.
Yeah.
Spread so thin around this area. He's going to pull NaNiwa to fight in the large open area.
Ooh. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the force fields aren't going to be as effective, but they were still not too bad there. The Hydralisk doing a lot of damage, but a lot also dancing around in the back. So the Roaches, sure, they get in and actually kill off a lot of the air, but, sorry, a lot of the ground, but the air is just going to dominate those Hydralisks once again. And with the supply counts being as even as they are, Tefel needs to find an ulterior route to do damage, otherwise he's not going to win here.
Well, exactly, but he's on 3 bases, remember. That's not a large income that he can keep on doing this with. His main base will get mined out soon.
Roach is trying to get some damage. This was potentially an alternate route, but again, the Void Rays will clean them up, and NaNiwa takes a pretty significant supply lead in normally that would occur in this matchup, even just lifting up the few Hydralisks that do remain. Good creep spread from Tefel, but it doesn't matter at all.
Well, he's trying to win the game now. He's actually trying to win the game with this. He's now taking a 4th base. He's trying to hammer down into NaNiwa. He's already destroyed a couple of probes here, 15 probes or so with that attack, which is going to slow NaNiwa's income down, but he is replenishing it. But still, 14 Void Rays remain. There's a +1 attack for the air and the ground now.
Yeah, these Zerglings do try and get in, but they're not going to in the end. There's a few more Hydralisks in production, but he's still only been at +1 this whole time with his range units. So, as we said at the very beginning, it's all about that mid-game focus for Tefel, and then he gets bogged down in it. A prime example is the fact of how late his 4th base is. How bad is, well, how lackluster his upgrades are right now. All of these factors count towards NaNiwa just building the perfect army and steamrolling.
It is a different style we're seeing from NaNiwa. I haven't seen anyone try to play like this in a long time. He's really delayed the Templar Archives to just opt for more Void Rays.
It's like a 4v4 tactic, man.
Yeah, with good... It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Just kind of choosing a couple of units, which is Void Rays, Sentries, and Zealots, and now making them stronger again with Zealot Charge, +2 attack, and even adding in Templar soon. If he focuses very heavily on Zealots, he'll have a lot of gas for High Templar.
Oh god, Tefel here, moving into a position to try and be aggressive, but look how big NaNiwa's army is right now. That's a very scary thing to go up against. He can't really do anything just yet. The creep is going to breach onto NaNiwa's territory heavily here, but still, I mean, it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. With Charge about to finish for these Zealots, closing that gap very quickly, and the high power that NaNiwa has behind his punches.
Yeah, I mean, when Zealot Charge completes and these Archons now coming into the mix, this becomes very strong army here for NaNiwa. 4 more gateways coming in. He likewise has to think about a 4th base soon, but to be honest, I think he may have an army that I don't think with what Tefel has, Ling, Hydras and whatnot, can fight against this.
Yeah.
+2 is going to help out once that completes, but
will it complete? If NaNiwa now goes here, as he's trying to get some static defenses up, Tefel knows he's in a bit of trouble because his opponent has gathered the pace to actually get up to max out. Doesn't want to separate those Zealots away, though. He needs those to tank. That's a lot of Hydralisks.
Yeah, let's have a look at this fight, though. I don't really know how this is going to go down. We'll have to see a couple of force fields trap those off. They do come down.
Not too bad, and he also doesn't force field off the whole area, so eventually, if he wants to continue that fight, the Zealots can actually filter on through to those back units, and does actually seal it off fully, but the other 2 will dissipate here, as those Void Rays still doing quite a bit of damage.
Nice micro from NaNiwa. Always pulling the Zealots back once they clean up the Hydras at the front. Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, it's all too normal for Protoss to just be like, throw down the force fields, leave the Zealots at the front. They're actually taking a huge amount of damage from behind those force fields as well, normally. So good decisions here from NaNiwa.
NaNiwa's going to take this 4th, finally getting the robotics facility down for the first time in this game, so he can get some observers out, but NaNiwa, as he takes a 4th, is out of position a little bit here.
Yeah, those pylons will end up dying off, so NaNiwa is going to be pretty heavily supply blocked if he kills off the majority.
Well, no Mothership Core here, and if he just picks off that Nexus and retreats...
That's a good pick-off there for Tefel. And that's the kind of thing he needs in terms of, again, the heavy mid-game focus and trying to buy time now for these engagements not to happen. But those Void Rays have a really, really nice position on this army. Good force fields as well, cut up a lot of those Hydralisks. A lot of them dancing around in the back, really not doing too much. So much firepower from NaNiwa. Again, it cannot be rivaled here by Tefel's army because of the position his upgrades were in. And the fact that he didn't have +2 armor is a big hindrance.
He is losing so much for so little. Look at that micro, even pulling the Void Rays back here. NaNiwa, so cost efficient with his army. He's killed 126 Hydralisks with only losing 4 Void Rays all game long. And now with killing that army, look at the supply difference. That was an expensive army. More expensive than he could ever hope for.
Oh, good storm there. Does clip a lot of those Hydralisks, and the 4th base absolutely plummets in HP and dies off quickly. 2 next eye on the way.
This is interesting, cool play from NaNiwa. I like it. I like Void Rays. I like Archons. I love Storm. It's nice. I like this different play.
Apparently you like the color blue a lot.
I love blue.
Yeah?
And I love Zealots with charge.
Yeah, Zealots with charge, man.
Okay, so NaNiwa's taking the fights in the middle of the map, but he's also sending Zealots to the top left to be able to go towards Tefel's third. And I don't think Tefel has the answer for this. I thought this a little bit a while ago.
Yeah.
His army's just not good enough here. Whether it be Infestors, or it be a lot of, I don't like. Maybe Infestors with this would have been nice. Maybe not little less Hydras, more Infestors here.
Yeah, locking them down and just causing the AoE damage would have been nice, you're right. But the Zealots go for the counter here as well for NaNiwa. He's playing very, very nicely, conservatively, and safely here to shut down a little bit of Tefel's economy once again. These Hydralisks getting themselves a Nexus, that's nice for Tefel, but I still don't think it's going to be enough here to pull him back in. He's got to make a miracle happen.
Well, when this +3 attack completes and NaNiwa decides to move across the map, probably in search of the 4th base again, Tefel will have to fight. And with the money that Tefel doesn't have inside his main base and his natural, it's going to be very, very difficult to build or rebuild the army that he may lose to this. Look at how many Storms there are. Zealots and Void Rays on top. This may be a little bit too difficult for Tefel, this next fight here. NaNiwa's played it out so patiently and calmly, especially considering the things that you'd expect NaNiwa maybe to play overly aggressive, but that's not it here. He's played this out really smoothly.
And with how many High Templars he has there, with the energy that they've accrued, there are so many Storms there for NaNiwa to say, well, I probably can just kill your majority of your army with Storms, let alone the entire army that I have. As he's going to push in once again. That static defense trying to hold on strong, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Good Storms there do land on quite a few of those Hydralisks, as well as up to the north as well. Really on point with his Storms there. Very, very nicely done. No more Hydralisks left standing. The Void Ray is going to reign supreme.
And Zealots at the 3rd base as well. NaNiwa's just all over the place at this point. GG. Good play there from the Alliance NaNiwa. Really good game there, especially after considering what happened in game number 1. That was much, much better.
Yeah, arguably game number 1 was NaNiwa's. Let's be honest, it was NaNiwa's, but a bit of a movement into an odd position meant that it didn't work out so well. And now here, game number 2, tying things up, reclaiming a bit of the ground that was, for a lot of people, rightfully his.
Yeah. And NaNiwa now just seeming a little bit more confident in things. But Tefel now, having won the first ones, lost the second, needs to start to think about what to do on the next map, which is going to be Belshir Vestige.
Well, it's certainly an alright map for our Protoss players, as it can be alright for Tefel as well. But again, Tefel, time and time again, I've cast him so much, not only here in WCS now, but in weekly cups in the past. And there is always that heavy mid-game focus. The transition for Tefel just comes too late if he doesn't kill his opponents. He has to now attribute that kind of playstyle to himself and adapt here against NaNiwa, who held on very, very nicely there in game 2.
Now I think the worst part of what Tefel has to do in game number 3 is he needs to be a fast thinker. He needs to be on top of things to realize and work out what to do against NaNiwa if NaNiwa is to use the same style, because doing it in game 1 and losing so badly with how it went down, and then doing it again in game number 2, that just tells me that NaNiwa thinks this style is very strong. So I believe that NaNiwa will play the same again on game number 3, so it's down to Tefel here. The Polish Zerg player, who really is making a name for himself in recent times. Being here in the round of 16 in itself is good. But it's now time to him to really figure this out. Like, what is it? Is it adding in Infestors? Is it more aggressive play but faster? Is it less aggressive play and more economy?
I like that you mentioned that. I think that will be where Tefel strikes and does the damage he wants to do here. But we're going to go in game number 3. As we'll see if he can take it 2-1, or if NaNiwa can come back from that 1-0 deficit that he found himself in and now take that 3rd map. As we have spawned down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our red Protoss, representing the Alliance in Sweden. Give it up for NaNiwa. And up to the top left, our blue Zerg. Really turning a lot of heads here in WCS Premier Season 2. As he is representing Dignitas and Poland. Give it up for Tefel.
I really think one of the cool things about NaNiwa as a Protoss player is that, yes, I think his play is very influenced from players like Rain and SOS, but he always comes out of the woodworks with his own style.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, you know, when we were watching the DreamHack tournaments when he was playing against Leanok and Jadong, you know, this gateway expand and into 4-gate pressure or not pressure, faking out Jaedong and Leenock. You know, these games were kind of his. Yes, we kind of saw, you know, a little bit of that in the past by other players like Sase and a couple of other Koreans, but NaNiwa just seems to always add his style to it. I think if we had a bunch of Protoss replays, and I do believe this, I'm not just saying it, we had a bunch of Protoss replays and they were all against Zerg or against Terran, and we said, all right, pick out the NaNiwa games, I think we could.
Yeah, I think we could. Yeah, definitely. He just plays a little bit quirky to his own play style, and it's for the foreign scene. It is kind of, you know, he gets his influence from some of those Korean players like you mentioned, but then foreign players arguably get a lot of influence from NaNiwa.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely Protoss players watching today being like,
yeah.
Oh, I tried something similar like this, but it didn't really work. But NaNiwa's making it work.
I mean, there was that famous, pretty famous moment where NaNiwa tweeted out, you know, stop trying to make my gateway expand work. People keep saying that they can't do it. Stop trying if you can't make it work. And, you know, he had his own success with it. Not many people did for a long time.
All right. So I think we may know what NaNiwa's going to do again. Is he sets himself up with the same opening, the gateway, the cybercore, the double gas, the zealot's on its way. Actually, the Zealot, was it in the last game, the last couple of games? I don't think it was, actually.
It was a sentry first, I believe.
Yeah, and he cancels it there. That was just in case of any cheese coming out from
Yeah.
Tefel. So yeah, he should be getting for the Mothership Core, but that's a faster warp gate, right? Much faster than the Mothership Core.
Oh, yeah.
Faster than the Stargate. Faster than the Sentry, which are all things that NaNiwa got last time because he wasn't really focusing on a gateway attack, which... Why? Okay, so very simply, for anyone watching, why is that changed? That's the first thing that I'm thinking about as a commentator now. Why? Why have you changed that up? Is it as simple as it seems that he wants to have a warp gate attack here? You know, a 4-gate attack as what we described?
Perhaps he sees the success from game number 1's aggression and says, hey, that kind of worked. That was very, very nice. Maybe I'll try that here on Belshir Vestige. There's a lot of room for him to do so over at that 3rd base and try and make that work. I think that could be certainly his opportunity here.
Well, the probe is going to see if the 3rd base is down. It is a little bit late again for usual Zerg play, but I think NaNiwa's kind of used to how Tefel likes to play in game 1, 2, and in their previous meetings. Tefel has always taken a bit of a later 3rd. So I think he's fine with this. He sees there's no attack coming because he has the probe on patrol move. And there goes the Stargate first here. Then 2nd gateway or 2 gateways after it. So he didn't throw down the gateways pretty fast to align up with warp gate research. So, you know, just kind of still thinking why is the switch up here? Maybe it is along the similar lines. I think he got Stargate first last time on game number 1 and still made the 2 gateways work. We'll see if that probe manages to do anything. But maybe it's just because he's like, you know what, there's not an early 3rd. He's going to have Zergling speed. It's Belshir Vestige. It's not a big map. It's difficult to hide the probe. Where am I going to hide it? On the right-hand side where I want to be aggressing from? So the Lings are always going to be down there?
Yeah. And I kind of like what NaNiwa's doing in the sense that it's arguably been very, very similar builds every game, but with slight deviations that have always got him to the same place, right? But they offer him a lot of opportunity to do different things early on during that getting to the destination, just taking those slightly different paths. So that Tefel might have a hard time reading into this, and this could certainly just be that 3-gate poke again here with this Mothership Core coming out in the Zealot.
Well, I think that he showed one Phoenix and was like, yeah, I'm going air again, buddy.
Yeah.
And then, psych, no. Because there's 3 Zealots on the right-hand side. There's got to be more being warped in. And at the moment, Tefel is building a lot of overlords. There's only a couple of Zerglings coming in. Ro16's not ready yet. If he's able to get this 3rd baser down, NaNiwa's got the pylon up on the right-hand side. A couple more Zealots. If he goes with 6, here we go.
Well, I mean...
Roaches are coming, but are they going to be there in time? A time warp on the ramp will help out slow things.
It certainly will, but in Tefel's defense, these Roaches are far earlier than they were in game number 1.
Yep.
So he certainly has the opportunity here to shut this down. Along with the Queens there, but they're not going to be able to... Oh, well, they're certainly not going to be able to get out of the way. They were slow before, but guess how slow they are right now. Nice transfuse, though, as those Roaches do come along to help. Is that Queen really going to get away? Oh, my God. No, both of them don't get away at the very end.
Well, that's fine. For 6 Zealots, that's fine.
Yeah.
I like this. It's a good play there from NaNiwa. If he keeps up a couple of drones, that's fine. He's not going to kill the hatch. He's warping sentries at home. He's got double gases to follow up here. I am happy killing Queens here. And a couple of drones, a couple of roaches. This is nice. This is good. It's not too much of an investment. 600 minerals, right? That's all it was.
Yeah, and it's not even just killing the queens. I mean, those queens were over there for a while. They were missing lava injects during, just standing there waiting for the aggression to come. A little knock-on effects here from Tefel are very, very annoying. And now NaNiwa is going back into that good old Void Ray production. Won't be surprised if he saw a third base, the extra 2 Stargates going down behind that. But the Zerglings are going to try and spot this, and they already see a Void Ray in production, so that's a good scout at least.
Yeah, 7 Zealots killed 15 Lings, a couple of Queens, and a couple of drones. And now with the Void Ray coming in, that's going to push down any gateway, any layer unit, again, hatchery unit, sorry, excuse me, Zergling, Roaches and whatnot, they're going to push them away quite easily to be able to take this third, and then double Stargate coming in. This is exactly what he tried to do in the last couple of games, so he's going to repeat his strategy here. And this makes it exciting for me, because now we get to see what Tefel's going to do about it. Yeah,
he has to read into this. He absolutely has to, otherwise it's just going to go so badly here. +1's already on the way. +2 fit starting up quickly after that would be very nice for Tefel as well. There was a slight delay in that, but arguably even a second evolution chamber would be useful. Again, carapace upgrades on these Zerg units against Void Rays that are attacking super quickly are very efficient indeed.
Hydras. Gonna go around the same pathway. I don't think he's seen the 3 Stargates, but I have a feeling that he may have just read the game as well, like we said earlier, that, you know, game 1 and 2, both same styles, it's gonna be the same again. But it looks like he may find out with these Roaches. He's got to be careful not to lose them though. A couple of sentries from the high ground, a couple of force field with Void Rays are already out, and the Mothership Core, he probably would lose everything there, so it'd be very bad for him to poke up to the high ground. Do you think he should use Corruptors or Infestors to help the Hydras?
I think Infestors. There was a time at the very beginning of Heart of the Swarm where it felt like it was Protoss versus Corruptors, and it was just wave of Corruptors trying to hit up against these Void Rays and never really making anything happen.
Look at the creep spread on the left-hand side. Which way is that going towards?
Down to the third.
So he's going to just build a lot of Hydras and try to break this third base as fast as he can. He's getting the Hydra range immediately, not ignoring the Hydra speed because he's using his creep.
But this has to hit earlier than last game, right?
A little bit, sure. But he lost the couple of Queens earlier, which slows things down. So he's going to try and hit NaNiwa. But I think NaNiwa may be ready. Remember, Belshire Vestige is one of the most defensive maps that Protoss players can play on. Very simply because force fields are great. They're great. Look at that. You know, the rocks there. Of course, he can break the rocks down and makes things a little bit easier. But that has to be the angle he fights. He can never come up these 2 ramps. Ever, never, never. He has to come on the left-hand side, which is why the creep's going that way. More and more Hydras, more and more Lings. The Void Ray count currently sitting at 5, with 3 more about to pop, so 8.
And +1's about to finish for those Void Rays as well, which makes them so potent.
All right, here it comes. Tefel's 166 applied to 124. Is the Polish Circler going to be able to stop NaNiwa in his tracks?
Is this going to hit in time? And even those gateways are actually pretty helpful. I mean, just any kind of limiting of space that he can use here against his opponent is fantastic. Even if he can't get to the Nexus, anything like that, super useful, as the Phoenix does see all these Hydralisks moving down through this location.
All right, this is going to be it. Is this what Tefel's going to do to try to break down the strategy of NaNiwa? Let's see. Well, this is what he's going to try. It just depends if it works or not, right? So we'll see. That's
a lot of Void Rays, though, already there in place to actually deflect this. Good force fields as well, sealing off all of Hydralisks at the front. They're going to melt very quickly, as NaNiwa wisely only activating the charge once all the Hydralisks have gone, so you can start working on the Roaches at the front. This is not going to be
force field energy, got to keep that up, man. Potent overcharge comes down. NaNiwa in a bit of a sticky situation. He realizes that he has to use that potent overcharge. More and more units streaming down here for Tefel. 26 Hydra still out.
10 Void Rays is a lot here, doing the damage that they need to do. And the Hydralisks, they don't actually just get the position that they wanted to actually shut all of this down. He got the Mothership Core, great, but there's still the Void Rays doing the damage.
Doesn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work.
NaNiwa with great holds. And Tefel,
great holds.
Again, it needed to come earlier. If it had come when, you know, there's only been a few Void Rays out, then maybe it will work. But you point out so nicely, the Queens dying off alone at the beginning are really slowing down what Tefel would want to do.
And now Tefel, because his timing didn't work, he tried to hit this timing, and unfortunately now the Polish player, I actually looked over there and he's already shaking his head. He knows he's in trouble because he spent a lot of money doing that. He's only got the same units, and he's just trying to rebuild what he just had. Remember minutes ago? Yes, maybe he's got +1 armor now, but still, he's much slower in supply. NaNiwa's got the lead. He has Zealot Charge on the way. He's got more and more Void Rays coming in, and +2 attack, even finding the opportunity to get in a couple of Zealots to harass this third base. It will be answered with a couple of units here, but the problem is Zealot Charge is now coming in. the Templar Archives can come in now. NaNiwa's dealt with the timing, and now he's in a major lead.
And the third base under assault, holding Tefel back for now, as well as his fourth base being assaulted too. So everything that NaNiwa is doing, just gathering his forces back at home whilst buying himself extra time to prevent these Hydralisks from trying to go for trades, is great for NaNiwa. Even with the upgrades advantage in his favor as well. This is going to be hard for Tefel.
Yeah, I feel really sad for Tefel, because I'm pretty sure he did not practice for this at all. This is on the fly thinking for him, but it's not working out. NaNiwa's just outplaying him with a strategy that Tefel did not know what to do against. And as we can see now, NaNiwa's coming in for the kill, and is he going to be able to pick it up here? It looks like it may be the way.
Yeah, great force fields once again, just separating these units off from the front to back, and these Void Rays are going to tear through this once again. Very, very nice play by NaNiwa with a Tefel that's been dumbfounded by this, and
well, he's had to cancel his fourth. Thanks for Void Ray buff. GG, Tefel says, and he knows he's in trouble. And NaNiwa picks up the first series here, 2-1, and pushes himself into the winner's match. Congratulations, NaNiwa, and that's a good start to the day considering he lost map number 1, but an excellent strategy, excellent style, and NaNiwa just brings the taste of NaNiwa into the WCS round of 16, and is already doing better than he did last season. And despite the words that Tefel said in game, he did go over there to shake NaNiwa's hand to say congratulations. And that was a good start. I like that. I like that play. I like these games.
As said, man, the 4v4 influence. You see, it's Void Rays all day there, man. But yeah, Mr. NaNiwa advancing on to that winner's match. He's going to go up against either Happy or MMA in just a little bit here for a PVT. But as is this man, he's going to have a ZVT against either Happy or MMA as well. And
I promise you that Tefel's hard work for the last couple of weeks to play against NaNiwa he couldn't even show it. I promise you that. That's probably why he's feeling like this.
Yeah.
Because he did not, and all right, how many European Protoss players play like that? None. None. He does not know how NaNiwa plays. NaNiwa's in a different region right now. He's in Korea. He's playing on the Korean server. He's not streaming. He's doing his own thing. So Tefel come into this and probably just kind of practice a general defensive style against any all-ins and against the usual Phoenix to Colossus play.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, that was not the case today. He had to play against something brand new. And that's probably why he's disappointed in his games, because I feel for him that he definitely wanted to show better games today.
Yeah, definitely. And he's going to have to prove that against our Terran opponent that he goes up against in a little bit. But that's going to be hard, because both of those Terrans very good against Zerg right now.
Yes.
So Tefel's going to have to bring something special to the field. He did take a game off MVP in the round of 32.
Yeah,
different conditions. But now in the round of 16, has a tall mountain to climb.
I mean, Happy's a destroyer when it comes to beating up Zerg players. He's just got such good macro, and he's very solid and doesn't lose to all-ins very often, so you're going to have to play late game versus him. And then we got MMA, who destroyed TLO in the round of 32, 2-0 really fast. So no matter who he plays, it's actually a very difficult situation for Tefel to be in. And I think that he was thinking, if I get through NaNiwa, if I get to the winner's match, it is, you know, a higher chance that I move through. It is very simply a higher chance he moves through, and I think that's another reason why he's obviously not feeling great right now.
Very true. All right, guys, we are going to go to an interview with NaNiwa and Red Eye to see what he has to say about that game.
Thanks very much, guys. Yes, with NaNiwa, winner of our first match. And you were wiping your brow for a bit of relief there. Was there a moment there after that first game that you were a bit worried?
After the first game, I was obviously a bit worried. Like, I had a huge advantage in game 1, and I still managed to fuck up. So I just tried to collect my thoughts and tried one more time, and it worked better in the second game, where I played more defensive. So I'm very relieved that I didn't make any big mistakes again.
Yeah, that second game, it was almost like you were very cagey. You wanted him to come to you. You weren't looking for a fight early on at all.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of VODs from Tefel, and game 1 went pretty much as I expected, except for me overextending. So I thought, if I just play more defensive, then he doesn't really know what to do. It was my thought, and he didn't really know what to do either. He just kept attacking until he died. So.
Okay, do you stand by your opinion of him from the first time you played? I mean, you lost in the Challenger game, so is he a decent player? Is he a good player?
I say a lot of stupid stuff when I'm angry. It's not directly to Tefel himself. Like, no matter what player I would have played then, and if I would have lost, I would have probably said the same thing. So it's not personal to him.
I understand that. Talk to us a little bit about WCS. Last season didn't go very well. it's a chance for redemption for you to go further on. You've seen the results from the first 2 days, and they're promising for you because they've knocked out some big names, and it's kind of cleared the path. You're now maybe arguably the favourite for the whole tournament.
Well, I never ever think about being the favorite or the underdog anymore. Like, I played too many tournaments to care about that kind of stuff. So I just can see myself as any other player, and I will play the same as them. And hopefully the better player will win. As long as that happens, it's okay for me if I lose.
All right, well, best of luck in the winners' game. You are through to that winners' game. Just one more away from the round of 8. NaNiwa winning the opening game. We'll be back with the second match fairly shortly. But first, here's some analysis from Sean.
Thank you, Red Eye, once again. Great interview. Good job, buddy. But now it's time to take the baton away from you and do some analysis of my own. As we are going to just quickly take a look. There's not too much to look in that game. I think it was pretty straightforward. Very simply that, you know, Tefel had to think fast on his feet because there's only a couple minutes in between games. He had to kind of think of a strategy and what to do. So if we just pause it for a second here, Tefel's decided to go on 3 hatcheries. So it's like a 3-hatch Hydra bust, if that kind of makes sense, because he's got creep spread coming down this left-hand side, or should I point on the minimap here, coming down this left-hand side. He's on 3 hatcheries, not 4. Usually if you want to play longer in the game, you either have double evolution chamber for better upgrades, so you have a bit more longevity in the game, or you take the 4th hatchery so you can increase your economy in case this doesn't work. So what he decided to do was throw all his resources into the Hydralisk. He has 100 army supply to 62. His goal is to beat down NaNiwa before he really gets momentum in the game, before he gets Zealot Charge and before he gets +2 and whatnot. So as we see now, here comes the attack. It's Ling Hydra. It's got +1 attack, not Carapace, by the way, which is another difference from the previous game, because Carapace is better defensively. He's really trying to pump up the damage amount that the Hydralisk do to try to do as much damage as possible with this attack. So he comes in here. Very simply, though, NaNiwa has a unit called the Sentry, and the Sentry has an ability called Force Fields. And with a couple of Force Fields coming down, he's going to be able to split up the army into, you know, kind of bite-sized chunks. And, you know, whenever I was in school, you know, teachers and whatnot used to say, cut it up into smaller pieces because then it's better to digest rather than the entire lot. So as you can see, he's able to do that with Force Fields. And with the Force Fields, he's already cut up half the army. The army supply is probably already dropped under 100 by now. And, you know, it's at 92, 93, dropping down, but there are reinforcements coming in. And all that NaNiwa needs to do is hold this. More Force Fields do come in, with the Photon Overcharge as well. Even if he loses a couple of Void Rays or whatnot, it doesn't matter because he's going to be able to beat this up. And unfortunately, this strategy didn't work. And now as you see the supply differences, 135 to 128. Army supply 68 for NaNiwa, 57. So all that money, not a 4th base, not further upgrades, no infestation pit, no later tech, has all just gone down the loo, unfortunately, because it didn't work. And from this position, NaNiwa sets himself up for a slam dunk finish, which is very easily finish off whatever units are left around and go across and win the game. So if we just fast forward through the game, NaNiwa just collects himself, makes sure his defense is set up and whatnot, and then just moves across and comes to kill the 4th base. So, I mean, he comes in here, Time Warp comes in, and from this position, he's not really going to lose. The Void Rays are too strong. Zealot Charge, I think, is active by now, and upon killing the 4th base, that's the game. So a nice and simple game there from NaNiwa to pick up, and he does move on to the winners match. So I hope you enjoyed. Whoa! Apolloception there. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, and over to you, Red Eye.
Thanks very much, Sean. Yes, logo's taken in by surprise. It's not much that shocks our Sean, I can tell you. Game 1 in the bag already. Game 2 coming your way shortly. But just a chance for me to explain something that Blizzard have done recently, which is absolutely fantastic if you are a barcraft. We love our barcrafts across Europe and across the world. You guys support the game and give the chance and the opportunity for fans to come together and watch the matches at events. And right now, Blizzard have the opportunity for all of you barcraft guys to go and register on their site on a special dedicated page by Blizzard on the main site where you can actually submit your events. There are a ton of events already up there, so make sure you go and check it out on the URL, and you will be able to enter your event on that page as well. It's a fantastic initiative from Blizzard to support our barcrafts. And if you are in a barcraft right now, I hope you're having a great time. We've got more fantastic matches on the way coming up very shortly. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, match 2 of Group C.